Hi, I'm Desmond, and today we're going to talk about how to install a manual boost controller. This is something that took me a long time to sort out, and it's not always easy to find an exact diagram of how this works on the internet. So this is my crude attempt to show you what I learned in building my turbocharged MR2. Please subscribe and post this and share it with others. Thanks.
Okay, I'm hoping this works to help you understand how a manual boost controller is installed. Here we have a crude hand-drawn diagram of a turbocharger. We have the air inlet from the air filter, goes into here. We have the boosted air from the turbo going out right here, and that's the air that's going to go into the intake of the car, into the intake manifold. This is what we call a boost air tap. Comes out of the side of the boosted air. Normally this hose here is hooked directly right here. And this actuator pushes a rod that's connected to the exhaust side of the turbocharger and opens up the wastegate. That is usually spring-loaded in a diaphragm and calibrated approximately between 6 and 9 pounds. Okay? Normally, if we want to hook just a boost gauge to see what this is doing, we put a T here in between the hose that goes from the tap to the actuator, and that gauge would register here how many pounds this is putting out. Now you can self-adjust this slightly because there's usually a threaded section in here. You can make this a little tighter, a little looser. The easiest way to do this, though, however, is put a T in here, and off of the T we put the check valve with the arrow pointing toward the actuator. And this you've seen in the other pictures in this video. Now really what happens is there's a little ball bearing in here, so the air cannot flow backwards. Pressure goes in this way but can't go this way. That's why you need the check valve. The two lines coming out of the check valve are for two purposes. One, it has to get air to the actuator, of course. The other is a tap that runs through the actual manual boost controller valve itself, and it has two openings. The second opening just vents open air out. When you open this valve, it allows a calibrated leak to allow pressure to come out of here. This pressure, because of the check valve, will show the advanced boosted air that is higher than this is, but it regulates only enough air to come through here to actually push the rod to open up the gate at 6 to 9 pounds. But on the back side of this, over on this side, you can actually have a higher pressure here because this is allowing some of the pressure from here to bleed off before it gets to here. Thus we're faking out the actuator controller that has a spring pressure tension here. So the pressure on this side is still 6 to 9, but the pressure here is actually maybe 15 or so, and it allows the exhaust gases to spin up faster and higher pressure to be able to give us more boost. And that is how a manual boost controller works, and the sequence on how that is installed to be able to accomplish that in a actuated turbocharger like this.
What you're seeing here is a turbocharger with a built-in wastegate actuator. If you look close, you can see the adjustable nut on the rod that adjusts the tension and the hose that goes off into the air tap. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe, and remember, more power is always better.